Good morning, everybody. How's it going? All right. I'm Diana Hummel. I lead brand partnerships for AccuWeather. And today we're going to be talking about iconic brands and how partnerships can be designed to drive home goals for these brands and also for the goals of their partners. I know that we look like we coordinate it. We didn't plan this in advance, but I think it is a testament to how fantastic this panel is going to be. So stay around, listen to what these incredible marketers have to say. From AccuWeather, we have an audience of 200 million loyal users who visit us 3 times a day to make informed decisions about what they're going to do. And I bring that up because a lot of what you're going to hear about is the importance of trust and authenticity. And I know we heard about that in the last panel. And that's really why people keep coming back to us. And it's really why our partnerships are successful. And for us, it's all predicated on superior accuracy. And that's really the foundation of our brand. So I'm going to pass it to Anuj first to talk about his role and his brand at Pernod. And we'll introduce everybody from there.
Thank you so much. Really nice to be here. My name is Anuj Chhabra. I currently lead the Mezcal portfolio at Pernod Ricard. And so it's the #1 Mezcal portfolio consisting of Del Maguey, which is the brand that created the category 30 years ago, and Ojo de Tigre. Happy to pass it on to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Karen Ehrlich. I had the skincare portfolio in UK and Ireland for Estée Lauder companies. So some brands that I'm sure you're familiar, like Clinique, La Mer, Dr. Jart, among others.
Good morning. I am Dr. Charlene Thomas. I'm the Senior Vice President of Marketing for Def Jam. I have a nice music history from working with artists from Wu-Tang Clan all the way up to Rihanna. And it was a pleasure to be here.
And I'm Emilie Bridon, and I'm at Microsoft, and I lead our channel and partner marketing team. And what that really means is I work with retailers every single day to bring campaigns to life and drive sales.
Okay, so we'll build on that intro a little bit. I'm going to start out by asking the panelists, what does iconic mean to you? What does it mean to your brand? What makes your brand iconic? And Karen, I'll pass it to you first.
Oh, such a great question. When I think about iconic, of course, I'm thinking about brands that are famous and instantly recognizable. But more than that, for me, it's about brands that are able or have been able to build trust over time. And why trust? Because it's really important that you stick to your brand promise, and consumers, when they experience your brand, and if they come back, they know exactly what they're coming back to. And I think that iconic brands and legacy brands, they are able to stay across time because they have this amazing combination of loyal consumers that will come back and repeat your brand. And at the same time, we always have the challenge to think about relevancy and how we evolve the brand to recruit new consumers, but always without alienating the existing ones. So if you're able to build trust over time and also remain relevant to recruit new, that's for me the formula that really defines iconic brands.
Emilie, do you want to chime in too?
Yeah, I mean, I think exactly what you were saying. Trust is key. Being timeless is also super important. I mean, at Microsoft, I think we've been around for over 50 years and been able to evolve. And of course, you know, we're in the Fortune 500s. Most of them are using Microsoft products. And it's just about being relevant, building timeless opportunities for them to live together, you know, as products and with the customers. And so it's really critical as a timeless brand to just be relevant, stay focused, and culturally there.
To answer iconic, I'd start with, since I'm in the entertainment industry, the definition of iconic for us would be like that song that resonates with you and is the soundtrack to your life. So that's what my brand, i.e. artist, that's what iconic represents for the music industry. It's the artists that are able to identify with you, create songs that identify with you, and it's something that transcends. So being iconic is a brand that's able to transcend through different shifts and moments of time within your life. And it's part of your identity. It's part of your story. Def Jam happens to be one of the only record labels, I think, that anyone can identify with as a label. And when I say that, you think of some of your other artists that you may like. Do you even know what record label they are? And I think Def Jam was able to do that from an early start because they became a lifestyle. It didn't just stop at a record label. It became, you know, they had Def Comedy Jam. They had all of these different entities that they surrounded with everything that was a part of our lives. And that's why they became iconic. So from the artists I've worked with, from, like I said, Wu-Tang to Jay-Z to LL Cool J or Rihanna, it's not just the music, it's them being part of you and your identity. So that's what I would say iconic is.
I love that. And I think you touched on, you know, when a brand really becomes important to somebody, it is because it's a part of their life. It's a part of their experience. It's about a part of their day to day and who they are. So let's talk about what partnerships mean to each of you, because we've got four very different marketers for very different products, so to speak, artists here, and partnerships can take a lot of shapes. For us, it's media and brand partnerships. It's about weaving our data into brand experiences, like we've done with our partnerships with Disney and T-Mobile. But would love to hear from each of you the shape that partnerships take and what really comes to mind. And Emilie, we'll start with you on this one.
Well, I love this question because being in the retail space, I think the most important partners that we have are our customers, but then our retailers. You know, we sell tons of products across, and they sit many different OEMs like Dell or Lenovo, and then our silicon partners. So we've got three key things that we are trying to bring to life when we're telling a story with our retailers. So as part of brand partnerships, you've got retailers, our silicon and OEM manufacturers, and together we have to bring to market so that our customers can understand what we're trying to sell. And at first and foremost, when we're building partnerships and talking to our partners, is really around building trust and mutual goals and understanding what each other are trying to go after. And so it's really important as we go to market, when we're telling stories, that we're really collaborating and bringing those to life.
Yeah, and I fully agree with you. And I see today so many brands trying to do partnerships just to drive attention and drive reach. And I think the ones that really work are the ones where the two brands come together and they have like a common intent. Because then you're building meaning, you're not just building reach. And in Clinique, for example, we just did a partnership with Crayola because both of us believe in play and the experience of play with color. We were relaunching our Chubby Stick range, that is like our makeup range in the format of stick. And from a product point of view, what we wanted to show to consumers that we can remove the pressure to use makeup. Makeup can be as playful as play with crayons. And when we look to Crayola, one, it's a brand that delivers on that. The product shape is very similar. But besides that, when we also look at culture, because I think if you're able to even add a layer of culture, you can make the partnership even strong, is when it resonates. So nostalgia is like a big trend right now. So we're targeting millennials, and we know that everyone is going back to 90s. And also, we also know that a lot of millennials are back to coloring right now. So the intent of both were exactly the same. And that's why when we look to the results of the partnership, we see like recruitment rates really high. We see engagement rates above brand average. And for me, that's the recipe that really helps partnerships to cut through.
Partnerships have to be mutual between the brand, the partner, and the consumer. And if it's one-sided somewhere, it's not going to be beneficial. In the music industry, once the music is recorded, it's everything after to get to you. So it's different levels of partner for us. We have retail, we have consumers, and then we have where, for reach purposes, I'm looking for a brand partnership. And that's because we are also trying to take our core, but also get a new audience. So I think the most important thing for me, or the one word that would identify any partnership that's going to work, is trust. We have to develop that trust together with the artist, which is my brand, and the brand partner. And then we have to be able to display that to consumers. Consumers today immediately, especially when it comes to music and partnerships, can spot when something's not authentic, and they don't want anything that's fake. So we have to be mindful of that and we have to be aligned in serving the target demo, that it meets both of our expectations and it's who we're trying to target, alongside of us having this trust so that the partnership even becomes authentic. Like, I don't want to have an artist that's a vegan and then we're doing a partnership with poultry or something. It just, that we're going to spot that that's not right. And then on top of that it doesn't even align with the music. The music is them talking about flying in the sky. So you just have to, it has to be authentic and it has to have a level of trust. I would say that would be the most important things.
Any other input from Anuj or Karen or Emilie regarding key criteria to make it into the consideration set? So Charlene talked about the importance of trust, making sure there's alignment from a audience perspective. But are there other elements that you'd like the audience to really consider related to each of your categories, related to key partnership criteria?
I could share, trust and mutual goals. I think those are really important. But I think the other piece is partnerships aren't just one-off. It's not just typically one campaign, let's work together. Ideally, you are working with partners that they're long-term so that you're building equity over time, and really having those shared goals is what starts. That's the beginning of those long-term partnerships.
Yeah, I would say the same thing in terms of trust and long-term partnerships. I think for us working in Mezcal, there's a lot of people who love our brands. And so naturally seeking them out, people who've loved Del Maguey since we first launched in 1995, people who've posted about it, before we started actually working with them, has been a huge unlock for us. And so we recently did a pretty massive creator program on Del Maguey for the first time. And I think what I literally did alongside the team was DMing influencers who we knew from, people who made cocktails and who we followed during the pandemic, and then other folks who've been posting about Del Maguey for quite a while, was able to get on the phone with them, educate them on the brand's 30 years history, and then I think form long-term partnerships with them, seeing that the amount of love that they have. And what's been really nice about that is that even outside of paid posts, they're constantly turning to Del Maguey as kind of the mezcal of choice when they're creating more videos. And so there's now just a level of reciprocity and kind of mutual understanding and respect between the brand and the creator, which I've loved being a part of.
I was going to add that internally, we also have goals. We want to make sure that we're serving the initial target demo, but we also want to reach new communities. So the partnership has to allow for that too, because we all have our internal goals.
So in terms of reaching new audiences, how do you balance the need to grow with the iconic nature of your brand and really making sure that you're not diluting or going too far away from what your brand is known for while you seek out new audiences?
I believe that thinking about innovation and bringing newness to the brand is key. Because if we want, think about Clinique, it's a brand with more than 50 years of history. We need to be relevant to the consumers today. And one of the ways to do that is through innovation in any shape or form. So for me, rather than a balance, I see them going hand in hand. So let me give you an example. So the brand promise of Clinique is that great skin can be created for everyone. And the way we do it is developing products that are guided by dermatologists, and we also educate our consultants with dermatologists. So 50 years ago, if you had the chance to go to our counter, you're going to have your skin diagnosed, and we would do that through what we called computer. But I think 50 years ago, a computer was just like a manual diagnostic. Today, what we did is we used the power of AI and technology. We have more than 1 million diagnostics that we created this amazing new tool that really enables our consultants to do something that is even more precise. So the heart of the experience is the same, but the way we're delivering is much more powerful because we're leveraging innovation and technology. And that's what I believe. If you're able to innovate, but still keep true to your core, that's like a really good way to build relevancy.
Karen, I don't know about anybody else, but you just brought me back to being in a mall and sitting down at the Clinique counter and having like walking with some like great free samples and, you know, maybe like a full size of something. That was an experience, but now it's changed. So anybody else have an example you want to share regarding how you've innovated your brand?
I'm just going to add on the music industry. You know, there was a point where we were physical products. Then we had to move to streaming, and now it's AI. So we have to keep that sweet spot of keeping our identity and the essence, but also understand that change is inevitable. So we're going to always have to be innovative. And the way that we're going to keep doing that is, one, listening to what our consumers are saying, understanding their needs and their wants, and still telling the stories, being in the culture, and be able to use that alongside technology, because technology is here, but it's still going to need us marketers in order to keep the essence and the identity.
All right, you had started to talk about this a bit, Anuj, but let's talk a bit about creators and how do you go about finding creators that are a great fit? How do you balance letting them be themselves and, you know, tap into their true essence so that they can connect with the audience, but in a way that still achieves brand goals? Did you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to jump in and talk a little bit further about that. But Delmagate, right, it's a really special brand. We work with 10 single villages across Oaxaca. So these are families producing our mezcal. These are the same families who've been producing it for 30 years. And in some cases, we have 1, 2, and even 3 generations producing this mezcal. It's a really beautiful artisanal brand. But I think when it comes to digital and some of the influencer work, we were in maybe the 18th century. And so really my work over the last year has been bringing the brand into kind of the 21st century with its first ever creator program. I think I mentioned this before, but we were working with a massive, holding company. Budgets got paused, and so we switched plans, and it ended up being myself and my team legitimately being on Instagram, DMing these influencers ourselves, seeing who had heard about Delmagate, and some people loved the brand. There were others who came back to us and said, yeah, like I've seen that on shelves for 30 years. It's mass produced. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. So I took it as an opportunity to really be able to educate them on this brand alongside my brand ambassador, tell the story of the different villages, naming the palenqueros or the producers by name across the 10 different villages. And so we took it as an educational opportunity. And I think as a result, the quality of the content was higher than anything I've ever seen, extremely strong engagement. And I think you'd hear these people with talking points that you would not get, if you were 3 steps removed from the briefing process. So it ended up being a really, really successful creator program for us that we're now scaling up with the help of one of our massive agencies and with long-term partnerships.
So from our perspective, creators are so critical to telling use case stories. And so we look for creators and building partnerships, again, very long term. But we start with creators and look for mutual audiences that we're going after so we can tap into their audiences in an authentic way. And then we also partner with each creator to tell unique stories that would help them in their everyday. So it's less about focusing on a particular device or a feature of a device or a service that Microsoft provides. It's more about what technology is enabling them to do. So a great example would be a student creator could be preparing for an exam. So they need a study guide. So they could be using a device to help build a study guide through Copilot. Another opportunity is a small business owner and they're looking to manage their everyday. And so leveraging Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and how they do that from an everyday perspective and how they can optimize using the power of Copilot plus PCs and AI. And so these are ways that we build stories or use cases, as we call them, use case storytelling, and bring those to life through their channels. And the most important thing for us, because we sit in the world of retail, is that each of these creators have built a program or have done before very clear CTA targeting. So they know how to tell stories and sell devices. But a lot of times we look for creators that match with our brand, match with audiences, and really lean into the Microsoft story and our Microsoft fans. And we've built hundreds of partnerships with these creators, and they're very long term. A lot of them are actually around here in Cannes, which is exciting.
Emily, do you mind explaining what CTA means?
Yes, call to action. So just making sure that each of the creators, whether, and I'm sure we've all seen this on social, the creator might say, oh, and find the link in my bio, or you can buy it at your local retailer. Or
I love that. You're making it actionable. Karen, did you want to chime in, or
I would just say in beauty in particular, it's impossible for a brand to work without creators. Like in the past, the brand had control of the message. Today, this control is shared by both. So we are constantly working with creators because we also believe that they can deliver the message in an authentic way. And with the power of communities, they can really build or destroy a brand like in seconds. So this authenticity when we're working with creators is key and is part of the thinking constantly.
Yeah, absolutely critical, right? So let's talk about, from each of you, if you want to highlight a favorite partnership that you have, what made it the best, what made it successful, why did you like it so much?
Well, I can.
Do you want to start?
Yes, I can start. And there's one that is called Game Face that we developed in the UK. And it was our initiative with women in rugby. And what is interesting about that is that when you think about, okay, Clinique, a prestige brand with young women in rugby, how the two things come together, it's intriguing. But we developed this partnership thinking about the community rather than the big amplification. And what we saw is that there were a lot of young girls dropping, well, first, suffering with confidence because they were going through a stage where they were questioning their skin, they were questioning their body type. So they had an issue with confidence. And we also saw that they were dropping massively out of sport because they didn't have the incentive, they didn't have the funds, and also they were not confident in their own skin. And we know that if you play sport from a young age, you develop confidence, then you take it for your entire life. So the question was, how Clinique, that is a brand that it's about delivering confidence and confidence on your skin, can help these young women to feel confident. And that's why we decided to partner with these local clubs across UK to really, one, educate them about skin, and two, give them the funds and the conditions for them to go and play. We saw that the engagement rate we had was like 50% more than any content that we were posting because the community was so strong that in year 2, we decided to spotlight this idea using real rugby stories and rugby examples. And in year 3, and it was never meant to be a sponsorship, but we had the World Cup happening in the UK and we partner with Red Roses, that is the England club. And again, it was another opportunity to broaden the message that was really resonating and really building confidence for this consumer. So what I love about the partnership is not only the purpose, but it was created in one way, but was so powerful that evolved. So I don't think there's guardrails on how you do it. You just need to constantly adapt and evolve.
Yeah, incredible space to grow and evolve in a way that really made sense for the brand. Anybody else before we move on to our last question?
I can share my favorite partnership, and I'll go quick, but my favorite partnership that my team recently executed was a partnership with the NBA in Canada across Best Buy, NBA, and Microsoft. And so we brought players into the store, partnered with Best Buy to bring new consumers in during the playoffs and really shined a light to the technology by having consumers come in, touch and feel the product by building unique playing cards with themselves and a player that was there. And so it was really fun way for them to test out the pen on a surface, see how quickly it can bring to life, and then they were able to take that home. So it was a great partnership to showcase sort of the product, but also bring new audiences in and highlight and celebrate with the NBA at the same time.
One really important partnership for us is just actually with bartenders. And so I talk often about the concept of the bartender as the original influencer in our industry. If you think about, you go to a bar and you say, what should I drink? Or, hey, I want a mezcal margarita. What should I put in it? They'll say, okay, Del Maguey. And so actually curating and cultivating those relationships is really, really paramount for Del Maguey and really for every big brand in the industry. So we'll have, grassroots educational events at different bars and restaurants, tastings with their teams. There's big industry events, almost similar to Cannes, called like Tales of the Cocktail in New Orleans, which maybe Karen remembers from her Pernod days, where brands will spend $1 million on a party with similar A-level talent to educate and bring people in. And then lastly, I think one of the things that you can do if you have a brand that has a really beautiful production, site is actually bring them down to Oaxaca or to Champagne and immerse them in the brand for 3 to 5 days. And so I think that's something that we do to really, really connect with these bartenders and turn them into advocates for the long term for our brands.
Well, I'm going to go only because you said talent. So from the talent side, partnerships, the best partnerships from us is from all of you, is everyone that's engaged with the music. We find it highly successful when fan pages or the DJ in the club, it's everyone that can get the music out for us are always great partners. So I think that's the best way. It's every way that you can discover the music that helps us. Those are always the best partnerships. So it's, we love a brand partnership now. Thank you. But it's everyone, the word of mouth. It's still the traditional ways of marketing that help us.
Okay, so we don't have a lot of time left. I feel like we could stay up here for 10 or 15 more minutes. So this is a choose your own adventure question to share with the audience. What's one thing that you're really looking forward to in terms of how partnerships are evolving and will evolve in the next few years? Or, and they could be the same, what's one piece of advice that you would leave everybody here with related to partnerships?
I'll go. AI is here. And in the entertainment industry, we were kind of a little slow, but it's here. And to use it as a collaborator. It's not going to take away our creativity. It still needs us. It needs a human in the loop. And I'll just give you the one example that to me right now just happened, I think about 2 weeks ago, when the teams were coming in the US for the World Cup and that viral moment, and they all had on the uniforms and they marched in from the airport in unison. AI can't do that. I felt that through just seeing those pieces of just that moment. And again, everything about marketing, everything about partnerships is creating those moments, becoming iconic and telling the story beyond just being transactional. And things like that, no matter with technology, that's what we all will be able to still do.
I would say that the media landscape is so fragmented right now that one of the points that are always on my mind is how we make it like seamless and frictionless. So every time that we're thinking about partnerships, we're thinking about what is the content that we're amplifying, and also how do we connect content to commerce in a very easy way. So it's no more like the funnel or like the awareness consideration conversion. Is like, how do we work seamless and we make from awareness and content to conversion something really relevant. So yeah, commerce for me is the big unlock in a very easy way.
I would say that creators are incredibly important to tell the story. And I know we talked about that earlier, but I think the biggest advice I have is creators are incredible to tell the story, yes, on social, but you can bring that content almost everywhere. We bring the content that our creators build on our landing pages at retail. And that's an incredible tactic for us, as well as feeding it through all of the retail media networks in order to build that additional layer of use case storytelling.
Yeah, I'll just close up by saying I'm ruthlessly focused on just adding value to the different partnerships that I'm a part of. And so if we're working with a creator, what is the value that maybe a consumer would get from seeing it? Is it a new recipe? Is it something that they didn't know, something they could share with their friends? The same is true as I work on retail partnerships and so forth. It's easy to go in with a brand first angle, and we often do. But I think trying to think about the value that you're adding to different communities and lives is how I try to lead.
Amazing. Well, that's a wrap for us. I wanted to thank Emilie, Charlene, Karen, and Anuj. You guys were incredible. Thanks for sharing all the great insight.